guys, welcome back to another Play and Explain. I'm just going to be sitting here playing a variety of stakes and talking about all my decisions. And I'm hopefully going to cut it up so that you only hear when I talk about a decision, but we'll have to see how that goes. My software is pretty good with that, but we'll have to make sure. So here in the big blind, I will not be defending against an open, probably. Unless it's like a min raise or something like that. So we do face a raise to 3 big blinds, and there's a caller, which makes it a little enticing, but we're just going to fold this. It's just a little bit too weak. All right, so here we pick up pocket queens, and there's a raise under the gun, but we are only 6-handed, so very easy 3-bet here. Going to go for a hair under 3x just because that's what my buttons are. And sometimes I find it easier to basically just use the bet size buttons effectively as they are rather than trying to pick a disparate size or like a unique size. If we get later into the hand and I want to use a smaller size or bigger size, then I'll do that manually. He calls and checks, so it's going to be nice to see Matt Vaughan at the table. Nice to be recognized at the table. We're going to use a small size here. This is a disconnected board, and looks like we're on another table now. That would have been nice, right? Just flop quads. He snap calls. I don't expect a lot of 8x in his range. So this is a board that should still favor us pretty significantly. Notice bet sizing, he has about 3x pot, so I'm just going to go for 75% and then slightly under pot all in on river if he doesn't jam right here. Think a 10x is calling all the time, probably all the way down. This jack is maybe a little bit of an action killer, maybe. He shouldn't really think we have a ton of ace jack, but could still kill action. Obviously, we're losing to hands like pocket 10s, pocket 3s, pocket 8s, pocket jacks, but that's really about it. So we're still going to go for the plan here. Again, slightly under pot that we've just set up, and hopefully we win. We do end up winning, but he doesn't call. I think hands we're trying to get called by there are hands like 10-9 suited, ace 10, king 10 suited, queen 10 suited, although we do block that. And then we should probably end up probably getting called by like pocket 9s and pocket 7s at some very like non-zero frequency. Not that it's going to always happen, but it should happen sometimes for sure. I would expect hands that he would have folded would have been something like deuces through 5s or whatever. I think it was a 6 on the board. So like those really weak pairs, and then like ace king if he's just holding on, ace queen if he's just holding on. Here there's a raise on the button. We have ace 4 of diamonds. This could be a call or a 3-bet, but I think on the button, if we 3-bet, they'll continue with a lot of hands that dominate us. So I'm actually going to just call and keep in a lot of weaker hands. Weaker ace-x may just fold if we 3-bet as well. So I don't always use this like domination concept in every single spot, but I do find that it's a good starting point if you are looking pre-flop and are unsure how to kind of continue. Against this size, we could check raise or we could call, but I think I'm just going to call. I'm more comfortable in that line. But with backdoors and like so much in his range that we'll see about this flop, we can check raise for value, I believe. I'd have to actually check that to be certain of it on something like GTO check, which is what I usually use to review hands, but we can maybe check that out later in a different video. In fact, I might even save this hand for later because now it's getting to be interesting already. So a jack on the board, backdoor flush draw is now possible. I'm definitely going to be continuing and checking basically every river. Hard to fold on this river. 7-8 does come in, but that's it. He does barrel twice with a hand with very little equity. I mean, he does pick up the gut shot, so I think that's probably okay. I don't know why I assume it's a he. But yeah, basically based on that, I feel like it's probably okay, but he probably wants a spade in his hand so that the times when a spade hits the river, he has additional bluffing possibilities. Here there's a raise under the gun. We're in the small blind with ace queen. We could 3-bet or call. Calling is kind of to sort of trap the big blind, sometimes get the big blind to squeeze with a worse hand. Not sure how frequently that's really happening, so I'm just going to go for the 3-bet myself. The big blind goes for the 4-bet, and I think that this is okay to just fold. Ace queen offsuit, not going to perform that well against most players' 4-betting ranges, and we are out of position. So I think the options would be to 5-bet or fold. And I think that he's so deep with us, we don't really want to 5-bet a hand with playability this bad. So we let it go. Not the best, but you never know. Maybe we got away from a cooler. That's what I like to tell myself anyway. Pocket fours here, very easy open. So we will go for a 2.5x sizing, which is just going to be my default here. I try to keep it simple. I want to click as few, buttons as possible. Just not have to make a lot of decisions until it's worth trying to make some real decisions. Get 2 callers and the board comes with 3 overs, which will happen a lot with 4s, but particularly when we're multi-way on a 2 Broadway board, we can just check to give up. I don't think a whole lot else is going to happen here. Maybe it checks the showdown and maybe we win occasionally. Maybe we hit a 4, but it's not super likely. I think we'll win this hand pretty non-zero now, just because when it checks through, I think people are being pretty honest. They probably have a queen or worse basically always. They both have Jack-8 offsuit. Okay, it's gonna be hard for them to win. Gonna be hard. Gonna raise up the 6-5 suited here in the cutoff. We can probably continue to a 3-bet from if they're out of position. If they're in position, it's a little bit dicier. But we get a call from the small blind, call from the big blind. Flop ourselves bottom pair. And again, these multi-way spots are tricky. We just don't get to bet as frequently as if it was heads up. And this is a board that will will connect with the caller's ranges pretty well. So I'm just going to check this back for showdown. And, occasionally we'll pick up some additional sorts of benefits here. Like we could spike trips and it's a little bit disguised. If there's a bet, it's a little bit close. I think we probably are supposed to call, but again, multi-way is so weird. I am going to peel. There are numerous draws available, of which we block basically none. The 3 is not a particularly good or bad card. I wouldn't expect many 3x to bet the turn, if any. So we're just going to... don't love this. You can just have a bunch of King X in the big blind. And while every draw missed... every draw did miss. Every draw missed. I'm trying to think about the better hands that I would check flop with call turn. I think I have a good amount of Jack X and stuff, but I unblocked all the draws. So I'm actually leaning now towards call. It's just people don't bluff as much multi-way. So I do think it's close, but I'll click the call button. He does have one of those missed draws, so nice to take it down. And we get the little emoji. And what is like thank you? I want thank you. I mean, I guess that's close enough. I don't really mean sorry. I just mean like thanks for thanks for the applause. Again, we pick up a playable hand, so we'll toss in the raise. Looks like this might be a multi-way pot once again, unless there's a large 3-bet here. And here we pick up 10s, and it's already 3-bet in front of us. We're probably just gonna call here. I expect it to go call at a pretty high frequency. And then on this board, we just can't bet. There's definitely a lot of ace-X out there, and we can't really hope that we're going to win this one. So going to just check it down, probably give up if anybody bets here. The queen is also scary because everyone's going to check every queen in their range on the flop. So we can just happily fold that one. Back to the 10s. Does look like we're going to go 5 ways in this 3-bet pot, but unfortunately we can't spike our set. It's pretty much what we're doing is hoping to spike a set. You can see we put in 11 or whatever, and the pot's now 60, which was going to happen at a very high frequency based on what occurred. So hoping that we don't spike it, and this just, again, like we just can't really do anything. We're gonna fold if anybody bets. We do have a clean gutter here to three clean gut shot outs. But like even hitting a set here isn't that good anymore. we just bink it. It is possible that there's more 10x out there. I think that the appropriate thing to do here is to bet small, because it's like basically impossible to have a range advantage here. We do want to get value from like 2 pair or sets. I mean, I don't know what the best size is, but I do think small to medium is good. I'm just going to go on the small side. I don't know who can have the most 10x. It might be kind of split between the opener and like the first cold caller because, wow, I mean, okay, this is just begging to pay more rake, I guess. I don't know. Like, they literally never don't have a 10 here. Like, I could have queens here and I would just happily snap fold. That is a ridiculous size. That is a greedy size. They should never expect action from a worse hand. It's the kind of spot where they could almost call just because they shouldn't really get called by worse there. But it kind of shows, to make sure you had one, not two. You would have known even if you just called. You still would have seen that I had both if you just call. But anyway, or raise a normal size. Anyway, the point being, when I bet small, I'm either trying to value bet thinly, or I have a 10, or I'm bluffing small, which you obviously don't get called when I'm bluffing, no matter what size you make. So I think he's thinking, oh, well, he's folding bluffs anyway, so I'll just mash it massive. But the problem is when I go small, it's because nobody really has a range advantage. He doesn't have a range advantage either. So when he smashes it, you really have to ask the question, would he do this with worse for value ever? It's like, does a set really go massive there for value? I don't think so. So he's saying I have a 10 or nothing, and realistically, there's no hand that makes sense to bluff, like large, because you can't block a 10 without having the straight. Like you can't have a combo that is blocking the good hands and isn't a good hand. So it doesn't really make sense to push at a large size for that reason. Unless you're a sicko and you just turn every hand into a bluff. But I think I'll have a 10 there, very non-zero, so that's probably quite bad to do as well. Here we see an open, and we have 10-9 suited. Definitely going to be a continue. I think 3-bet is okay if he's deeper, but I think I'm just going to call at this stack depth. And I mean, we've been going multi-way a fair bit, but it's not like it's going to be every single hand, so I think it's still okay to call in the cutoff. Maybe in the hijack, we lean on 3-bet or fold a bit more. But having some calls in the cutoff is still pretty seemingly okay to me. We flop 2 pair, but it's bottom 2 on a straightening board. There are 3 possible straights out there, so I don't even think this is a raise for value necessarily. I think much more. Well, we make a boat now, so that's cool. He continues betting, and I think that while we have more 10x than him, disguising our hand is probably marginally better. I think raising looks super scary here. Yeah, there's some action killers, but I still think this is okay. And the river is an ace. Kind of an action killer. I mean, I don't think... wow. I mean, so we have to discuss this, right? So like aces does come in. That is annoying. Jacks beats us. Ace 10 beats us. And these are all hands he could conceivably play this way. So... I don't want to look like I'm slow rolling. We still beat a lot of hands, but it's kind of important to just discuss those as possibilities, because when people do jam like this, they will have really strong hands very non-zero amount of the time. So we got very lucky there to just improve. I think if we didn't improve to a boat and the river was an ace, it's like kind of gross. We do lose to a good amount of hands then. Whereas with the 10 in hand, we're blocking too many combos that we beat, and they're just less likely. So I think that's probably going to do it for this video, as we would have flopped middle pair and a flush draw. But thank you guys for watching. This has been Matt with another Play and Explain. If you guys enjoyed this, leave me a comment down below. Feel free to drop your hand analysis, and also don't forget that I have an Ask Me Anything thread about poker on the CardsChat Poker Forum. So this has been Matt, and I'll see you guys all in another video, hopefully very soon.